Alrighty, so today I want to talk about Ninja Theory. It's been quite some time since I've talked about Ninja Theory, and a lot of those old videos that I did have discussing Ninja Theory have either been unlisted or taken down just because I felt like they were not good videos. I don't even think this video is going to be good, but you tell me. I want to talk about some of the recent news regarding what Ninja Theory, what Tamim had said, talking about developing sequels for IPs they've developed in the past. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because we all know that it is very, very unlikely for Ninja Theory to ever develop a DMC Devil May Cry 2. Even if that game were to be made, Ninja Theory would probably not be involved given the PDF that discusses why Capcom restructured, you know, them saying that it was mostly because of outsourcing and just having Western and outside influences coming in, developing really core IPs to their company. So when it comes to actually talking about stuff like a DMC2, it's like Tamim says in the video, there's probably like a 1% chance that it would ever happen. And I find it so funny whenever Tamim talks in this video because he looks like he's fucking scared to admit it. He doesn't want to admit that, you know, DMC was a complete disaster, but you can tell just by his facial expressions and just the way that he speaks in that video. So I'm gonna play a few clips here from that video, and then I'll get back to you after you've seen those, just for those people that haven't seen the original video. But if you've already seen it, I will leave a timestamp so that way you can just skip all that and just go straight to the aftermath, I guess.
How often are you guys contacted by fans asking for sequels to your games?
Yeah, we get a steady stream of people. Almost every post that we put up on Hellblade, there's someone asking for DMC2. When's that coming? Or Enslaved, or whatever. Like, it just keeps coming back. It's hard to understand that we don't own those properties and we don't have control over where or how those sequels would happen. But we do with Hellblade. If it feels like we can take Hellblade somewhere new and the fans agree, I think we can then action that kind of stuff. Or do a new game, you know, whatever, I don't know, but we just have no control over that
Does
stuff.
the team just laugh, or what's the reaction for all of those comments?
They don't laugh. I think there's a lot of people in the studio that would like to make a new DMC. There's a lot of people that would love to make a new Enslaved or a new Heavenly Sword.
Can you rule out the possibility of you guys ever making a sequel to any of those games?
No. We occasionally still prod the various publishers and go, what about this? What about that? Have you thought about this? You know, I hope with the right treatment that they could come back. I don't know.
So you're not ruling out any sequels, you're still poking every once in a while.
Still
Is
poking.
there one, do you think, that might ever happen? Are we talking like 1% chance or 30% chance?
I'm thinking more like 1%.
For all of them?
At this point, yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
boy.
1 to 10% maybe.
Okay. Which
1
one's
to 10.
closest to 10%?
Oh, I can't say. Well, if I say, I'll probably jinx it, right? So
I won't be discussing why Heavenly Sword and Enslaved won't be getting sequels, but my guess would be that the publishers did not take any sort of liking to how the PR was handled with DMC Devil May Cry and just don't want to have to deal with any sort of business related to Ninja Theory. The other more likely possibility, though, is that there is just no interest in developing sequels for those particular IPs. Anyway, I digress. I think it's good to hear something like this, and I feel like this is especially true when you consider that this is more or less reconfirmation that Capcom will no longer outsource to Western developers for core franchises like Devil May Cry. I would also say that this is really good to hear as a Devil May Cry fan, because this would mean that if we do get a new Devil May Cry game, it would be developed in-house. Just to reiterate a point that I mentioned earlier, even if a DMC2 were to happen, it would most likely be developed in-house. Though at this point I think it would be more likely for us to get a continuation of the original series, if not another reboot that was more faithful to the original series, but that's another topic for another day. Before I end this video, I'd like to say something on the subject of Ninja Theory. To me, missing out on one of their games isn't really a big deal, especially when taking their track record into consideration. After the whole PR disaster with DMC and playing both the original version and the definitive version of DMC Devil May Cry, they really burned that bridge for me as both a consumer and as a gamer. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way about them as well, so whatever they do, whether it be Hellblade, a sequel to Heavenly Sword or Enslaved, or just a brand new IP, I don't care. I don't care because I don't want to accept any sort of game from them, because in the end it'll just be mediocre, and that's just putting it mildly. Personally, I hope they just fade back into obscurity, if not downright disappear from the gaming industry. I think I've talked enough for today, so with that I'd like to know what you all think down in the comments below. If you don't already, you can follow me on Twitter and on Twitch, and I will see you all in the next one.